What's the reaction back home to this latest event?
I mean, it depends which side of the aisle you're on, of course, but it's pretty outrageous. And I think even people that are more moderate or independent are pretty outraged at what happened. And there's the tactical issue, which is, there's suspicion that the Democrats engineered this to distract the voters from the horrible outcomes we've had from 18 months of the Biden administration, inflation in the economy and the border and crime. But there's also the bigger picture, which is much more worrying and saddening, is that, this is another example, not the first one, another example of the apparatus of the state being used to punish or even criminalize a political opponent. That's something we'd expect in Cuba and Venezuela and North Korea, not in the United States.
I'm imagining what the reaction would have been here if Boris Johnson had sent the police to raid Keir Starmer's private address. I'm imagining what the fallout from that would look like.
And even in the States, imagine if they sent, a team of, a SWAT team to Hillary Clinton's residence to take the server, which it turns out, she really was hiding classified documents on the server. It's really the same thing, paper versus a server, but, it really was the same.
Looking at it from the outside, it seems, from what we appear to be being told, to have been an act of incredible stupidity.
Yeah.
For the agency to go in and clear every witness out and then spend 12 hours, what credibility would they have walking out in the aftermath and saying, here's what we found?
Yeah.
When everyone on the other side is just going to say, well, so you say.
Very little. And I think they parked credibility a long time ago. It goes back to the Russia collusion hoax, the Carter Page FISA warrants. You heard the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, talking about no one's above the law, except that their credibility is zero. They've had, not only have they, had pre-dawn raids on several Trump advisors or employees, former employees, that's been going on for 18 months now. Pre-dawn raids, of course, they alert the media first, so, take out Peter Navarro in leg shackles. I mean, this is really unprecedented, way over the top. I mean, the optimist would say it's overkill, or prosecutorial overkill, but I'm more worried about the bigger picture. And then, of course, you have the backfire and the boomerang effect, and you'll probably see some, retribution when the Republicans win the House after November. And you'd think the Democrats would be a little more insightful about that. But, this, unfortunately, it will get uglier. And again, it goes back to credibility, where the Justice Department really lacks it, not only for what they've done to President Trump for 6 or 7 years, the impeachment hoax, the Russia collusion hoax, all of it, but also what they haven't done. Look at, Joe Biden and his son Hunter, and forget about his problems. More importantly, Russia, China, Ukraine, money going into Hunter Biden's bank account from all three of those countries. Not a word about it. They buried it in 2019. The FBI has had the famous laptop since 2019. Buried it, and then 50 Justice Department veterans argued that it was Russia disinformation. These are really troubling political.
Laura, it's amazing stuff, isn't it? It's like listening to someone describe the plot of a badly written movie.
It's horrible. We're living in astonishing times. It's like we're living in a really bad film. I mean, they're going to have to excavate some extremely serious criminal activity. And again, who'll believe it now? But if they don't, it's so clear that this is just about short-term political advantage. And in terms of the media, it's just about securing clickbait. Now, there's nothing wrong with opinionated media. GBNews is quite opinionated. Indeed. But the media has become so partisan. It's only about creating political echo chambers now. I find this whole story deeply unsettling because I think that what it's doing long-term, all of this, going back to Hunter Biden, like you say, the Russian hoax, is it's eroding trust in institutions that you should be able to trust, whichever side of the political divide you're on. The police, the judiciary, the government, the media. And I think trust is completely eroded. When I was looking up this story, I thought, OK, I'm going to have to balance it out. Shall I look at the New York Times? Shall I look at the New York Post? But I don't feel that you can even get both sides of the story from different media anymore. What you'll find is one media just might not even cover one angle of it because it's not politically convenient.